does kind of seem crazy to think about because like Cole hasn't even had his first birthday. And I did end up having actually like a couple different bacterial infections. So we are all done with that, but it's at 7:15. You know how it works, you're pregnant until proven otherwise. Which that was also kind of a whole thing. So super crazy. I'm like getting like so like nervous and jittery and excited. So do this. Should be good to go. Which I feel like whenever you leave pharmacy with a big bag like this, it's typically for one specific thing. Because there's obviously no guarantee that it's gonna work. And I was like, oh my gosh, like here we go again. First injection is done. Today is the day. You're not sure?
Mama, baby.
Yeah, you want me to get a baby? Hopefully, I'm getting pregnant today. Ken keeps saying to go pick up your sibling from embryology daycare. Look at these fun yellow socks. If you know, you know. Shouldn't be doing this. I just don't understand people are getting pregnant on accident, pregnant naturally, and we literally can barely get pregnant with all this help.
There's a distinct line.
Yeah. I don't know, I get in my head about it and I just worry that our other embryos won't work and Cole will never have a sibling. I think that's that. We're just gonna keep trucking along. I just don't know what to think or what to expect. All I know is that I gotta be hopeful for next time. Hey guys, hello, welcome back to, well, I don't even know if this is the start of a video or anything, because honestly this footage is not gonna hit the internet for probably like a very long time, if it does, which I assume it will, and I assume it will either way, whether things go well or not. But it's kind of weird to be doing this again, because if you guys have been around for any amount of time, we struggled with infertility for years and had kind of like a whole entire journey, obviously kind of like troubleshooting that, figuring out what was wrong, doing a lot of testing, doing IUIs, doing IVF, and IVF is how we conceived our little boy. And I had a lot of footage kind of documenting that whole process, just like starting from the beginning, just like trying naturally, and then kind of doing all the testing, and then doing the IUIs, which we did 3 of those that failed, and then we did IVF, and we had our first transfer with IVF that failed, and then our second transfer is how we got our son. So we've had kind of a whole journey, and I will link the playlist down below, our kind of like TTC fertility playlist. I have a lot of documentation from that time, and there's a lot of videos. There's like kind of some like short compilation videos of the whole entire process, and then longer ones, and so you can definitely check those out, binge those. There's a lot of content there. If you're going through the same thing, my heart goes out to you. We've basically done all of it at this point, and I filmed a lot and just had a lot of footage from like honestly years just sitting on my hard drive, like waiting to kind of like get to the other side of it, whatever that looked like for us, that I knew I would ultimately want to kind of like put out on the internet as sort of our journey and our story. And so I was always filming and just like keeping things on my computer in a folder forever until the time came to like edit it and like actually kind of share our story with the world, because we kind of kept it to ourselves for the most part, honestly, which a lot of people do, and also a lot of people are very open and like share as they're going through it, which is so courageous to me. I mean, sharing it to any level I think is courageous, but doing it kind of like in real time is not something that we were doing, and we're not gonna do that this time either. So that's why I'm saying this footage is probably not gonna hit the internet for a bit, because we're kind of starting the process of initiating another transfer here soon. Not that soon. As of the time I'm filming this, Cole is 10 months old, 10 and a half months old. So we kind of want to like start thinking about it. But the main thing is that I cannot be breastfeeding. My clinic doesn't do transfers if the mother is breastfeeding, essentially. So if we could do it sooner, like while I was breastfeeding, would we? Probably. I would probably breastfeed Cole a little bit longer, but with that in mind and kind of a lot of other breastfeeding weaning things, I can link some of the vlogs down below where I talked about weaning him from breastfeeding. I think for a lot of reasons, including IVF, I'm gonna stop breastfeeding him at 1 year, which, you know, is a little bit standard. I feel like a lot of people do it that way, and that will kind of be like the start and the go time for our next transfer. It'll kind of work out perfectly, I think, timing wise, that he will be a year old. I'll wean from breastfeeding, and then based on how the timing should work out, I think that the next transfer is gonna work out really well with like the birth date of the next baby, assuming everything like works out on this transfer and all of that. So as of today, which is September 6th, Tuesday, we had our first kind of like appointment with our, it was like a virtual consultation with our IVF doctor, just to kind of like talk about what we have in mind and kind of like our timeline and what's been going on with me with breastfeeding and my cycle and things like that. I talked about in that vlog that I kind of thought I got my period, but it didn't really feel like much of a period, and based on what I explained to him, he thinks that I just kind of had like a jump in estrogen, but not like enough so to actually initiate a full cycle or like actually ovulate. So he's thinking I probably haven't actually started my cycle yet, which is kind of typical if you're breastfeeding. A lot of times you don't get your period back till you're done breastfeeding. Obviously a lot of women do too. And I kind of thought I had to get my period to start IVF again, but I kind of don't. He can give me, you know, something basically like prescribed to kind of kickstart my cycle and sort of like get things, like get the ball rolling and sort of start like leveling out the hormones and get them back to a place where it makes sense to like start all the other meds like the estrogen and the progesterone and all that stuff that you have to do for IVF. So that's kind of the conversation we had today. It was just a quick, like a 20-30 minute little virtual consultation, just talking about, you know, we haven't talked to him obviously since I was, I think like 9 weeks pregnant or 11, something like that, I want to say. So obviously it's been a while since we talked to him, and we didn't really like learn a ton. It wasn't really like kind of like meeting or appointment where you're really like scheduling or planning much of anything. It was kind of more of like a touching base, like what do we have in mind in terms of a timeline and kind of like what's gone on since then and like what would be like the very first steps to start the next transfer. So essentially I'm still gonna be breastfeeding for like another month and a half, give or take. So there's really nothing much to do now. I'm gonna keep an eye on my cycle and just see like, was that my period and it was just weird, or was it not? Like, do I get it again, you know, in like the normal 30, you know, 25 to 30-ish days? And then basically the next step is just to let them know when I'm done breastfeeding, and we'll kind of go from there. I feel like I always leave appointments like with more questions than answers, just because I like think on or stew on like what was talked about, and then I come up with more answers that I didn't like come up with in the moment. I'm sure probably a lot of you are like this. I feel like I always leave appointments like wishing that I could like have more time just to like ask the questions that I like just thought of, and then I feel like I always end up like messaging like one of the nurses or doctors and be like, so based on the appointment, I feel like I need another appointment to like continue talking about all the points that we discussed that like I now have additional questions about. And I'm just like that kind of person. I always have way too many questions. I feel like my husband gets so annoyed because and probably my doctors get annoyed too, because I just ask too many questions, but that's just how I operate. And I know a lot of other people are like that too. So that's just how my brain works. But I don't know, because they typically do like the trial transfer, like the saline sonogram, just to kind of like check out your uterus and see where would be like the best place to put the embryo, make sure there's obviously no like cysts or anything weird going on. But they typically do that in between like your period and your ovulation. But if I don't have my period yet, I'm not sure if I would have to like take something to start my cycle and then do the sonogram, because obviously they schedule it, you know, in between your period and your ovulation, kind of like for a reason. You know, your uterus would look the most like it would during a transfer, I'm obviously assuming. So if I don't have my period, I don't know if I do the sonogram anyway, or if I need to start my period, or if I like don't even need to start my period at all and I just skip to the estrogen. So there are just some things that I'm not 100% sure of, which this was not really an appointment to like lay out the whole entire timeline and my whole protocol, because obviously like that will come. But I'm just the kind of person that leaves appointments wanting to like know everything, even though that was not the intention of the appointment. So I'm just filming this clip basically like kind of like document the start of kind of like the ball rolling with our next transfer, and hopefully, God willing, and we will be praying as we always are for all of our embryos in the freezer, that everything will work out. But I do kind of want to like have some of this footage and documentation to kind of compile and kind of just add to our, you know, journey and our IVF story and all that kind of stuff, just kind of how we're growing our family and how each process in terms of like doing a transfer is maybe the same or very different. I think my protocol, he said, would be very similar, since obviously it did work out, but I'm assuming it could change based on, you know, like how my uterus looks and maybe what my hormones are and blood work and different things like that. So I kind of feel like even though we had an appointment, I don't really know a whole lot more than I did before the appointment, but at least we kind of touched base, and you know, he gave us like our next steps and stuff like that. So that is what's going on so far. If everything goes according to plan, we would be doing a transfer basically like 4-ish months from now. give or take, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like in 4 or 5 months, like I could be pregnant again, which is wild. It seems like a long time, but also like I feel like the time just flies because Cole's not even gonna be 1 for like 2-ish months, and then typically like a 6 to 8 week like lead time to the actual transfer, and then there's like the 2 weeks after that. So it's like a whole entire, you know, process, and there's quite a timeline to it. But yeah, that should be happening here in the next like 4-ish months. So we're very excited. It does kind of seem crazy to think about because like Cole hasn't even had his first birthday, but also like we're excited and we want to cover our kids like fairly, you know, close together for our sake and for theirs. We're kind of shooting for like a January-ish transfer for like a September-ish baby. That's kind of the plan, which is crazy because it's September right now. So like theoretically, if everything works out, again, God willing, we could be having another baby like this time 1 year from now. Wild. I feel like it's so funny to be like sitting in this particular location filming this little update, because if y'all have seen a lot of our other IVF, TTC, fertility journey, but just so much of that footage was filmed in like this exact chair in this exact position, because I feel like I was always in this room like editing or doing work on my computer, and I was always just like chatting with y'all on the camera from this position. So here I am again filming some more IVF like updates, and my hair is so wild from working out. Sitting here filming more IVF and like fertility updates in the same spot. It's very nostalgic, but I don't really have much of an update for this one. It's, what's today, October 5th, 2022. So our son's birthday is in 19 days, which is so crazy. His first birthday, obviously. But I do have like a little bit of an update, so I figured I would just jump on and quickly record this clip because I got like my full-on period. I think I mentioned, filmed that last clip like a month ago probably, but I think I mentioned in that clip how I thought I got my period. Possibly could have just been like a weird hormonal fluctuation, and I mentioned how I was having like a lot of weird hormonal like symptoms, and I did end up going to the OB and I got a bunch of blood work done. I got like a culture taken, a urinalysis, like kind of got a bunch of stuff done just like see what was going on, and I did end up having actually like a couple different bacterial infections, which was so bizarre. So I was on a couple different antibiotics, so that did take care of some of like the discomfort that I was having. And then I ended up getting my period, like my full-on period. It was definitely my period this time. I think like a day or two after I got back from the OB appointment, so it was kind of just like funny timing. So I think all of the different like symptoms I was having were like related partially to the bacterial infection, and then also to just like, again, hormone fluctuation. And my period, like it was for sure my period this time. It was much more normal compared to the last one, and it was pretty similar to my periods like before I got pregnant. It was like pretty mild, honestly. It was almost easier. I had like no cramping at all, like no like discomfort associated with like pain, I guess, associated with my period at least. And it was pretty, it wasn't super light. It was heavier than like that first period that I wasn't even sure was a period, but it was pretty like light overall, I would say. It did last a little bit longer than like my periods before I was pregnant would be like 4 days maybe. This was closer to like 5 or 6. I am tracking them just to like remember like what my cycle is doing, but so it was honestly like not wildly different, and it was right on schedule pretty much too. My periods used to always come about every 28 days, and this was I think 26 days from like that weird period that I had. So it does seem like that first period was a period to some degree just based on when this second one came. So I think my period is back. I think I'm like on a regular cycle again, which is not exciting because I freaking hate having my period, like we all do obviously, but it is good to know that it does seem to be back and my body is kind of like regulating out and kind of normalizing again. And we are already starting to wean breastfeeding. We've already dropped 1 feeding, and like I said, his birthday is in like 2.5 weeks, so we're gonna kind of wrap it up around that time. So we're kind of on schedule to kind of like hit that time frame, I think, based on like how I have like the weaning scheduled. So I know my hormones are going to change probably a lot as we get closer to that time when I'm done breastfeeding, which is really sad, and also I'm like not looking forward to all this hormonal stuff. But I am glad to have my period back, so that when I get my next period, I have to call the clinic and I will go in for my like trial transfer and just kind of like the ultrasound sort of situation to check out my uterus, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of crazy that like the next time I get my period, which should be in like probably 3 weeks, or honestly probably less. It might honestly like be right around his birthday. I feel like then the ball kind of starts rolling. So it's kind of exciting that like now that my period is back, we can kind of start the process in terms of like paying attention to when my cycle is and getting some testing done and all of that. So that is the little update for right now in October, and I will definitely check in once we do all that other testing. I'm not sure what else we're gonna do besides the trial transfer, but I'll definitely give an update when that time comes. Hello, this is another clip for our IVF transfer series. We were just talking about this. We're calling it obviously transfer number 3 because it is, but we only have one baby because the first one was unsuccessful. So anyway, our current IVF process, we are kind of taking the next little step. It's actually Halloween. I have my little, you can't really see, yeah, my little Halloween sweatshirt. I have a very sleepy baby right here who just turned 1 year old a week ago, which is also crazy to have a 1 year old and then also be kind of starting the process of making another baby. But we're on our way to my trial transfer saline sonogram, where they basically just kind of check out. They have to do this within 6 months of a transfer, so they basically just like check out your uterus just to kind of get an idea for, you know, how it's situated and where they think would be best to obviously kind of plan to implant or transfer the next embryo for like the best chances of implantation, and just kind of checking out your uterine lining and just kind of like getting a feel for the environment and stuff like that. So that is what we are on our way to do. We got the whole gang here. Should be a fairly like straightforward, easy appointment. I just go in and it's like a vaginal ultrasound, I believe, and then I think we might be like sitting down to talk about kind of like a general like timeline and protocol and stuff like that. I think my protocol is going to be the same as last time, but hopefully we'll get an idea for kind of what we can expect in terms of a timeline and those kind of things. So I will definitely give an update. I'm not sure if it's like gonna be like, since I had a C-section, I don't know if my uterus is gonna look any, well, plus I've been pregnant now, so I don't know if my uterus is gonna look any different because of pregnancy or you know, the potential like scar tissue from the C-section and stuff like that. So I'll be kind of curious what they say, because I remember every other time they were always like, oh my gosh, your uterus is so beautiful, your uterus is gorgeous, which is always such a funny compliment, but my doctor is kind of funny that way. So I'm gonna be very interested to see what they say and if we get any idea of kind of a timeline. But yeah, we were in a rush this morning. It's like, I think it's like 8:30, yeah, 8:30 right now. Bless you. And we already got up, all of us are fed, I got a whole workout in, and we are out the door by 8:30, so we're making serious moves this morning. Hey Cole, can you please not fall asleep? You gotta stay awake, okay? I know you are sleepy, but you cannot go night. Alrighty, so we are all done with that. I'm just getting my leggings back on, but it was really, really quick, super easy. He said everything looks normal, healthy, good. He was saying the catheter can potentially get stuck on C-section, like scar tissue, I guess, or whatever, but that was not the case. It literally like slid right in there, and he says everything was good. So I got a clean bill of health, and now I'm just gonna meet with my nurse just to kind of talk about, I don't know, timing sort of, and then that's it. Super quick, one more little update. I need to get a bunch of cleaning done. I could hardly keep Cole awake during that car ride, but I got to talk to my nurse right after the sonogram just to like get an idea for the timing of everything, and she basically confirmed that it's gonna work out exactly as we were pretty much hoping. We really wanted to not have the transfer run into the holidays at all, like Christmas time and the New Year, just obviously because of our schedule, and a lot of times like certain doctors obviously like take time off and whatnot. So I wanted to make sure we could have our doctor there doing the actual transfer. So based on when my next couple periods should be starting and all of that kind of stuff, I think it's gonna literally work out perfectly, because when we sat down, I was like, I'd really love to do the transfer in like the 1st or like, you know, 2nd week of January, like as early in January as possible, but like not in December. And we like looked at my calendar, like at my Flow app, to see like when my periods are starting, and then obviously taking into consideration the different appointments and like when I'm gonna be starting the estrogen and the progesterone and all that stuff. It looks like my transfer would probably land on January 4th or 7th, I believe, were like the two potential dates, which is perfect because like I said, I wanted to do like the first week or second week of January, so either way it lands within the first 7 days of January. That is gonna work out perfectly, so I'm very excited that I was thinking we might have to like skip a cycle and then start in order to have everything kind of land when we wanted to, but I think we're gonna be able to like go with my very next cycle, which is super exciting. And there's not a ton of appointments. There's literally just like a blood work appointment and then a lining check and then the transfer. So it's also not obviously like the stimulation and the fresh transfer where you feel like you're going into the office like every couple of days. So I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be pretty low maintenance. Like we're not gonna be going there a ton, and obviously with the baby, like the less appointments we can have, the better. So I'm very excited. He went down for his nap extremely easily because like I said, it was almost impossible to keep him awake in the car. So I'm gonna do some cleaning and get ready for Halloween. And of course I will check in with y'all. Probably not like, obviously in your time, it's gonna be the next clip, but I probably won't have an update for a little while, but I will see y'all then. Good morning. This is another very spaced out segment of the IVF vlog, video, documentation, whatever, on my new vlog camera, actually, because we had a whole situation with my last one. But I have my blood work this morning to check my levels for, I guess, starting on the progesterone and the estrogen and all that kind of stuff, but it's at 7:15. Like we have to be there at 7:15 and it's a tiny bit of a drive. So we have to leave pretty soon, and this is how it inevitably happens. Cole is usually like takes his best naps on a day when like we need to like be somewhere, so I have to like end his nap early, which I hate doing. And of course he sleeps. He was up last night because of his teeth, but of course now he's like sleeping around the time still that he would normally be starting to wake up, so I have to wake him, which I, like I said, don't like doing. This is just without fail. He'll sleep in when we need him not to, and then he's up at like 5:30 on the days that we'd love him to some extra sleep. So anyway, we're gonna go get some blood taken, and I guess I will give y'all an update when I get the results, and I'll probably get some more information on like the timing in terms of when I have to start the patches and the shots. I know the shots don't start until like a couple days before the transfer, so we'll see what the results are and go from there. All right, little update. My blood work came back showing that I have ovulated, which is what they're checking for / what they wanted to see. So I just went and grabbed all of my prescriptions. So I have the estrogen pills, which I'm taking 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and then I have the patches that I will switch out every 3 days, and the Z-Pack antibiotic, which you take at some point like a couple days before the transfer. And then I'll also need to pick up the progesterone and oil intramuscular shots, which you start either 3 or like 5 days before the transfer, and then continue obviously until the pregnancy test. And then if that's positive, you obviously continue until 11 weeks for my clinic. So as of right now, I only picked up just the Z-Pack and the 2 forms of estrogen, and then I'll have to get everything else, you know, when things get a little bit closer. So we're very excited because it just really feels like the ball is rolling now. We actually also have to hand in kind of like our, I don't even know what they call this, like our, it's like a permission slip, it feels like a consent to thaw your embryos. We had to get it notarized and that whole thing. I'm sure if y'all have done this and you know how it goes, there's like paperwork and it has to be, it's all like very official and all of that stuff. So it's just crazy. I actually talked to my nurse about when the like expected transfer would be, and it'll probably be a month from, today's Friday, it'll be a month from Sunday. So it's essentially like 31, 32, whatever days from now, which is crazy to think like in a month from this moment I could be pregnant. You know how it works, you're pregnant until proven otherwise when it comes to IVF transfers. So it's kind of crazy to think I could be pregnant in a month. Like it literally doesn't feel real to me. Like a lot of these steps just feel like kind of like tasks. Like, okay, we have to go get the blood work, and then we have to fill the prescription, and then we have to get the paperwork done, and it just feels like you're just like getting stuff done. But then it's like, oh my gosh, it's because I'm gonna hopefully, God willing, praying that I could be pregnant in like 4 weeks. So nuts. So we are so excited. It's starting to feel so much more real now that we're actually like doing all these little things. Like we've been planning for it, but the ball's rolling now. Hey y'all, I am popping on here for a quick little update for this video. I'm literally filming these kind of all over the place as is to be expected, but I've been on the estrogen now for about a week. I think tomorrow will be 1 week, and I don't really remember, other than being drowsy, like many side effects last time, and I feel like I'm having kind of the same experience. I feel like the first couple days I was like extra tired, and I like kind of feel more tired towards the end of the day more often now, I've been feeling like, and I don't know, it doesn't really seem like that's like a common side effect, like drowsiness. I think just like kind of general fatigue can be considered one, but I did start feeling like super bloated like within like a day or two of starting the estrogen, which I know like can be a side effect. It just kind of like general weight gain can be, so I've honestly been trying like not to weigh myself. But my period started like 4 days early, which was a little bit weird. My period even postpartum has been like I didn't even get it till, I don't even know, like I think 10 months postpartum or something. Like I went like 2 years without my period. It was incredible, and I was actually joking with Ken, my period definitely kind of sucks postpartum now. Honestly, like I don't have any cramping. I have like less like PMS symptoms, I guess you could say. Postpartum, like I don't even know my period's coming. I get no cramping, like no forewarning at all, except for I do get a little bit bloated, but it's just so heavy. Like it is just so heavy, and it's longer. It's like 2 days longer and much heavier. It's just kind of like more annoying to have my period now, but it's not like terrible by any means. I know a lot of people have like really terrible periods. So it's kind of funny because this is only like my, I think, 4th postpartum period, and hopefully my last until like again like another 2 years. So I was kind of joking with Ken yesterday. I was like, I like complain about my period, but I've only had a couple since, you know, obviously before I was pregnant, and hopefully this will be the last one for another couple of years, you know, hopefully assuming and hoping that the transfer is gonna work. So I feel like I'm complaining, and it's like I have not had very many. I'm hopefully not gonna have any again for a really long time. But yeah, it's just kind of weird that my period came early, like that early. If it does come early, it'll be like a day. Yeah, I contacted my nurse and we got my lining check scheduled, so I'm excited for that. And then we got my progesterone ordered, which that was also kind of a whole thing. I don't think I talked about it on here yet, but our insurance, it's the same plan, but it kind of like changed and updated a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it was covered last time around, but this time it like wasn't. But then we kind of like got it switched to another pharmacy where it was covered, because I guess that was like a preferred pharmacy or like in-network, whatever. And then once it was covered there, my like clinic's pharmacy called me and they were like, yeah, now it's like being covered. And I'm like, okay, this is all very strange. My clinic's pharmacy will give us like the sharps container, the syringes, the needles, the alcohol wipes, like everything like for free basically, just like included. So we switched it back to that pharmacy. So it was kind of like a whole thing, but it went from, I think it was gonna be like $91 a month or something like that. So it wasn't like crazy, but with insurance it's $15 a month. So if you compare them, it's obviously like a huge cost savings. It's not like it was gonna be hundreds and hundreds a month. So 90 bucks a month like wasn't crazy, but $15 a month is obviously so much better. So we got the progesterone whole like prescription thing sorted out. So we have the lining check, and then we'll get my prescription for the progesterone, and we'll start those after the lining check at some point. And then my transfer will be probably in like 3 weeks or something like that. So super crazy. I'm like getting like so like nervous and jittery and excited. Like it just every day like it feels more real, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm doing okay on the estrogen, honestly. Like haven't really noticed a whole lot of changes other than just my period coming early and like the slight drowsiness. So anyway, that is the update for now, and I guess I'll probably talk to y'all for my lining check. Hello, it is 6:30 in the morning, and we are heading out for my lining check. So I'm not really nervous. I'm mostly just like excited. Hopefully everything goes well. We'll get our transfer date. I have my St. Gerard necklace on, praying that everything goes well. We had to wake Cole up, which we never have to do, and he did not want to get up, but he's in good spirits now. So off we go. Someone's so sleepy. You want go? You sleepy?
Go.
And cozy? Sorry we had to wake you, baby. Alright, let's do this. Alright, we're in and out of there pretty quickly. We actually have to go kind of kill some time. We were gonna go grab breakfast anyway, but we have to kill some time to pick up my progesterone. Yeah, that's the only thing we have to pick up in the pharmacy. It doesn't open for a little bit because these appointments are so early in the morning. But my lining was at a 9, and I think 7 is like kind of the like bare minimum, I guess, that you should have for transfer. So obviously my doctor still has to like review all the photos and stuff like that, but should be good to go. My nurse is gonna like message me later with like the official go ahead and the transfer date, which will be, obviously the doctor's gonna like sign off on it. It will be Wednesday of next week, and today's Thursday, so it'll literally be in less than a week for my transfer, which is kind of crazy and so exciting. We kind of like knew what the date was most likely to be, so it's not like it's that surprising. I feel like when we were doing the simulation, it was a little bit more of like a shock because we didn't know what my retrieval was going to be, and it like snuck up on us. But I feel like when you're doing frozen transfers, it's a little easier to like estimate when your transfer is going to be. So wow, I feel like that there's an influencer I know that lives right there, because that's exactly what her house looks like and what like the front of her house looks like.
I think we've got a book of butter.
I don't smell anything. I'm sitting right next to him.
I just got a whiff of it, but okay.
Maybe. Cole always like poops in the morning, so whenever we have these early appointments, it's always like waiting for the ticking time bomb to go off. But anyway, so I need to start my progesterone in the morning and also the Z-Pak antibiotic in the morning, so everything, and then I still have to keep doing like my pills and patches for the estrogen, so kind of everything starts in the morning. And then obviously once you start those shots, you're doing those shots per day for hopefully, you know, 11 weeks or whatever. So yeah, so far so good, and hopefully we'll get the go ahead and we'll have the ball rolling starting tomorrow. Breakfast with the cutie boys. Keep sniffing it. Yeah, tell him no, no.
Every time I sniff him, he says no,
no. I'm principally against being sniffed and don't do it anymore. No, no. All right. It was kind of funny. There was another woman in the pharmacy with a baby that looked very close to Cole's age. He was, I think like 3 months younger, she said, and she was also getting like a big old bag from the pharmacy. She's like, oh, it looks like you guys are doing the same thing as me, which I feel like whenever you leave the pharmacy with a big bag like this, it's typically for one specific thing. So we got a big giant Sharps container. Like usually the Sharps containers, I feel like honestly, I have a giant bottle of wine right here. I feel like they were just like tall and like, you know, narrow like that. And this time we got this like huge one. And then, I mean, this is obviously all the standard stuff, the progesterone and oil, the alcohol, wipes, pads, things. And then these are the needles that you draw up the progesterone with. Whoa! And then these are the ones that you actually do the injection with, which like I don't remember them being this long. Like they're pretty skinny, which is nice, but like I don't know if this will focus on one of them. That's a long needle. I was telling Kim, like, I kind of wish I hadn't looked at that. But anyway, I had the nurse, when we were chatting, I think I told you, she kind of like, just like refreshed my memory on like where the injection site is. So she was kind of having me do like leg lifts, and she was like, you can kind of feel like the muscle that kind of like brings your leg up. She's like, that's pretty much like what you should be aiming for. So obviously we're gonna be alternating sides, and I think what I'm gonna do, I saved, my hair is so gross right now. I saved all of our paperwork from last time. I have like a folder just with like literally everything from like bills and receipts to prescriptions to like the resources, like the papers and instructions and everything that they gave us. So I think I'm gonna go grab that and get out some of like just like the little like notes and stuff we had. When you're first doing IVF, at least where we go, they kind of give you like a training session essentially with a pharmacist that teaches you, well, that was for the simulation, so I guess that makes sense because there's a lot more injections, but they also teach you how to do the progesterone shots. And so we have a lot of I don't know, educational materials on this stuff. So I'm gonna get all this organized. What are you doing? He's literally over there pooping. Are you pooping? Yeah. Oh boy, we got away without him pooping the whole time we were gone, which was very fortunate. But we had a really nice morning. It's only, well, it's like 9:15 now, but we left here at 6:30 and got home after 9:30. So we were out for a while, but we had kind of a good time, like going to breakfast and just kind of being out and about. And I feel like it's kind of nice almost in a way that it's like not even 10 and we've already kind of been fairly productive. So anyway, he's gonna play, go down for a nap, and then I guess I will check in with y'all either when I hear from the nurse or I don't know, maybe the next time I pop in will be transfer day, which is crazy. We're obviously super excited. It's like feeling so real, but also getting a little nervous because there's obviously no guarantee that it's gonna work. And we have never had our embryos genetically tested. Our doctor didn't really like recommend, not that he didn't recommend it, but he didn't think it was necessary for us considering like our health history and stuff like that. So I feel like if we knew that all of our embryos were like chromosomally normal, I would maybe feel a little bit less nervous. But the fact that we don't even like know for sure that the embryo is even necessarily like good enough to take, and then even ones that are good enough to take still possibly could not take. So I don't know, it just feels like there's a lot of uncertainty, which is just kind of part of the whole infertility journey that makes me a little nervous. But we're mostly very excited. Do you want a baby sibling? You do? Do you have a poop? Do you have a poop? Yeah. Mwah. All right, Cole's watching Brand Boo Boo House, so don't mind the background noise. But we just did my first injection of this round. I still have my buzzy bee out here. And oh my gosh, this is like way too loud. It really wasn't bad at all, honestly. It was like, we kind of needed a refresher in terms of obviously like my husband, okay, getting the progesterone, you know, out of the vial and then switching the needles, and we just like kind of needed a little bit of a refresher on that. And then also kind of in terms of the injection site, like I have my heat pack in there. We just wanted to be sure we were doing it. But I feel like when it comes to the injection site, like once you've done progesterone injections once, you kind of just like remember where you did it. And I always feel like it's just literally exactly where your pocket would be, like right here. And it was honestly so like smooth and easy. Like I literally didn't feel it going in. It wasn't uncomfortable. Like it was very, very seamless. He definitely like got it in the right spot because it feels like it's spot on. It did bleed like a good, not like a ton, but like the little alcohol pad definitely had some blood on it, which I feel like sometimes like even before it used to bleed, you know, like a bit, and then sometimes it would just like bleed not at all. So I feel like it kind of depends. But yeah, it was so easy. We were a little bit like stressed out, like kind of just approaching the whole concept because obviously we have Cole now, so we have to figure out like what to do with him while we do it, since it's obviously a little bit of a production between, you know, prepping the vial, warming it, I have to ice the spot, and then we both have to sit on the couch to administer it, and then, you know, heat pack it and all that kind of stuff. But Cole was chilling in the high chair watching Bear in the Big Blue House, so he was totally fine, and Ken's pretty comfortable administering it and doing it, especially since we did it so many times before, and it was really like low maintenance and like pain-free for me as well. I don't know if that's because I iced it really well. I don't know what all, you know, led to it being so pain-free. Maybe this helps, but it was really straightforward and easy. So I'm really glad it went so well this first day. So I won't, not that I was really that nervous, but once I like laid down, I was like, oh my gosh, like here we go again. You know, it's this big needle into your muscle, and obviously it starts hurting over time. And I was just like getting a tiny bit anxious, just like kind of jumping into this whole process again. But now that it's done and it was so easy and smooth, I feel great about it. I feel very like at ease knowing we're gonna have to get back in this routine, and obviously we've done it once, so we can definitely do it again. It also makes me just excited because it means that like we're doing this time. And Ken was so sweet afterwards. He was like, okay, cool, this is when we say thank you mama for doing this for us so we can have a really cool family. And it was really sweet. So anyway, first injection is done, successful, and now hopefully we'll be doing this for the next 11 weeks every morning, hopefully. Except I will say I feel like it's already kind of feeling sore. Like I already kind of feel like almost like I just did like a workout in that area. Like I already feel like it's a little bit sore, which is strange. So I'm trying to like massage it, and I'm gonna hope. I went a long time without like lumps or too much pain last time. I remember it took like weeks for me to get lumpy. So I'm really hoping that I have that luck again. So it's the only thing I'm like a little bit nervous about, is like this can kind of, you know, even though like the administration is not tricky, it can get tricky to avoid the lumps and the bruising, but also like I'm not excited to get all this discomfort over in my thigh area. But this is a hack, definitely. Wear like tight clothes, like leggings or something, and just stick your heat pack in and walk around with it and kind of like massage it through your heat pack. Yeah, and it helps it feel a little bit better. Today is the day of our embryo transfer. I literally cannot believe it's finally here. It's also a little weird because obviously we're shooting for our second baby, but this is actually my third embryo transfer, my second frozen one, but I had a fresh one as well right after our simulation. So this is our second frozen transfer, but my third transfer. And obviously I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm so excited. I have been praying like crazy, as I feel like we do. I have my St. Gerard necklace on, and I'm just trying to like keep my cool and like stay calm and not obviously like get super like anxious or anything. I'm mostly excited. I'm really not like too stressed out, but I also recognize that things kind of change a lot today, obviously in between now and the pregnancy test and stuff. It's just kind of like this weird limbo where, you know, you're pregnant until proven otherwise, but also, you know, you're a little bit worried, hoping that it obviously like sticks and works out, and then obviously you want to make sure that you're making decisions, hi honey, that make you comfortable, because I feel like obviously there's not a ton. Hi Cole. Hi! He's like waving at me from across the room. Hi! Hi Cole. Are you excited for today? Are you excited? I'm gonna go get one of your siblings to... Yeah! I'm gonna go get one of your siblings. Put in my belly. What do you think? Don't hit your head. Do you want me to go get one of your siblings in my belly? Okay, are you okay?
Baby.
Yeah, you want me to get a baby? A baby.
Baba.
Brother?
Baba.
You want a brother?
Baba.
What about a sister? That would be nice. You're not sure?
Mama.
Yeah, hi. Hi. Hi, baby. Toys. Yeah, go ahead, get your toys. So basically it's just like nervous excitement for sure, and I feel like these next couple of days, like I was saying, there's really obviously not very much you can do to make or not make the embryo, you know, implant stick around. But if you've obviously ever gone through anything like this, I feel like you still put a lot of pressure on yourself to do things and eat things and work out or not work out, and you know, just do whatever you can to give yourself like the best odds. And then also for me, I just need to like take it easy so that I don't do anything to like mentally give myself a hard time in terms of if it doesn't work, to blame myself for anything or whatever. But at the same time, I am a very like active, a very active person. And so it's also, I don't know, it's always just kind of hard to take it easy, even though I need to. So I think I've decided I'm probably not gonna do any workouts, like, you know, of my normal workouts in between now and the pregnancy test. Just stick to like our walks and stuff like that, just to keep myself active and stuff. But I'm just gonna take it easy, take it slow, probably just like take a lot of time just kind of off in general. I kind of just want to hang out, not do a lot of work, not do a ton of like extra activity. Like I kind of just want to take it easier over this next, you know, 9 days until the test, and just pray and pray and pray that it will work out. I'm so excited, and I love my clinic and I love my team, so I'm also just excited for the experience of it, because I know it's gonna be a good experience. I can't wait to see the picture of the embryo. I love that we get the embryo pictures. I'm excited to know what the quality of this one is, because believe it or not, the quality can change. Cole actually, when his embryo came out of the freezer, the quality had actually gone up. So I'm just really excited to, I don't know, just take on the day, do all the things, and hopefully I'm getting pregnant today. Y'all, I even have picked out to wear, me and Ken, the exact same thing that we wore to Cole's transfer. So I wore my Sydney Cummings sweatshirt. Ken wore his Royal Change sweatshirt, which you'll see. So we're gonna wear the same thing. Just not that I'm like superstitious, but I feel like sometimes there can just be things that like bring you comfort. And I feel like this just reminds me of that time. So to me, that's very comforting. I just did a workout, so I look kind of questionable. It's not just raining, it is thunderstorming, like the loudest thunder I've heard in a long time, and lightning, and it's raining cats and dogs. And I love a good thunderstorm, like a good, like super rainy day. So to me, this is just very cozy, and it does kind of feel like comforting and like good luck, which I know maybe is weird, but it's like warm at the same time. So I feel like I'm gonna like want to layer up in like that hoodie and that Sherpa. but it's also like 65 degrees, so like I'm not gonna need to. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna both be wearing the same things that we wore last time. Ken just brought me Dunkin', which we actually got Dunkin' last time, and we got sushi last night. I'll insert a clip here. We did a sushi night because obviously when you're pregnant you're not supposed to be having, you know, like sushi and the raw fish and stuff like that. So we did a sushi night kind of as like our last little hurrah. I had like a glass of wine for the last time. I was thinking I kind of want to get Jersey Mike's, get like a cold cuts like sub, since like you kind of can't have that when you're pregnant, and just like all of those little things that like you can't do laying on your stomach, and my eyelash serum, and just like the little things that you are not a big deal obviously, but that you kind of miss when you're pregnant. And since I'm getting pregnant today, God willing, we're kind of like making it a little bit of a fun thing, and like getting sushi and sandwiches and like little things like that, just to kind of like celebrate this like big huge day, big moment. They also obviously, I don't know if like all clinics necessarily give the exact same instructions, but my clinic doesn't want you to wear or like have anything fragranced on you, so I'm just gonna like take a quick body shower, but not put on obviously like any deodorant or perfume or anything like that. And then I have to drink 10 ounces of water on the way. I'm typically like very hydrated anyway, so I think what my plan is, in order, I might have talked about this already, but in order to not be like overly hydrated, because honestly last time my bladder was like so full that I was like uncomfortable, and I was like, I really need to pee, but you do need your bladder to be, you know, fairly full. So I think my plan is to try to just like pee right before we leave, and then just drink the 10 ounces, give or take, on the way there, so that hopefully I like fill up my bladder enough, but not too much to where I'm uncomfortable, and not too little either. So that's the plan. I just feel like in my head I'm like running through all the like prep little things that I need to make sure that I'm on top of. I don't know if I mentioned it yesterday, I don't think so, but my nurse called to just go over everything, to remind me about the water and what time to be there, and to double check that I still wanted to do my transfer. She's like, I'm just checking to make sure you still want to do an embryo transfer tomorrow. We just talked about the timing. She double checked, you know, that I'm taking all my medicine and all that kind of stuff. And then she gave me the phone number for the embryology department, just in case there's any kind of emergency of any kind. You can call and leave them a message, and I think they check their messages like first thing in the morning, like super early, and maybe like periodically until a certain time, just in case anything happens and you don't want them to thaw your embryo. You can like kind of stop them at like the last moment, and they'll leave your embryo in the freezer, which obviously I didn't have to use that, but it's just crazy to think that like that's something that they have to do just in case, which is obviously really smart. The only thing is, I don't know if Ken and Cole will be able to come into like the little like prep room. Like I know typically Ken would be allowed to come into like the actual, I call it like the operating room. I guess it technically kind of is. It's all, you know, sterile, and everyone's like wearing all the clothing and stuff like that. And typically he would be allowed to come in to that room and like watch the transfer happen. But obviously Cole can't, well I haven't asked, but obviously Cole can't come in there and like distract people and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping Ken and Cole can just come into like kind of like the, almost like the triage like kind of room, where I just kind of get like prepped, and then they can obviously just like head out whenever I'm going into the actual transfer itself. I'm hoping. I don't know if they are going to allow that. I'm feeling very prepared. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling really good. All right, showered. And I'm honestly like, I feel like this didn't happen last time, but I can't be sure. But I feel like the hormones, because obviously I'm on the estrogen and the progesterone and oil, are already giving me kind of like some like, I guess it could be seen as like pregnancy type symptoms. Like I have been getting so much acne. I have makeup on, so it's hard to tell, but I've been breaking out a ton, which I never break out. And I've just been like sleepy. I feel like I've been not like crampy, but sometimes, and I've definitely been having a ton of cervical mucus and just things like that, that I feel like, which is why they say like they typically advise like not to take pregnancy tests and things like that, because all of the different hormones that you're on can kind of give you pregnancy type symptoms. They're also like period type symptoms, so that can also be confusing, like is my period coming or am I pregnant? And obviously I haven't even had my transfer yet, but I'm already kind of having some effects from all like the different hormones that I've been on for a while now. So I feel like it can kind of trip you up a little bit mentally, like thinking, could this be that, or could it be something else? I don't know, but I am all ready to go. I actually wore last time too the earrings that we wore on our wedding day, just like the little things that I feel like are really valuable and meaningful to me. I'm actually wearing a necklace that Ken gave me when I told him we were pregnant with Cole. He like went to Target. It's honestly like a really crappy necklace because it's from Target, so it's like super tarnished, but it's like really special to me since he got it for me when we found out. Like he literally just ran out of the house to Target and like grabbed it. Like he didn't know I was gonna tell him we were pregnant, so he didn't get me like anything super nice at the last minute, of course, because he didn't have any time to prepare. But even though it doesn't look nice, it's very meaningful. So again, just like wearing these little things, it's not like about like what's lucky or anything like that. It's just like, things that are really like special and meaningful and valuable to me, like on me on like a big day like this. Let me know if you've ever been through this. Let me know if you do the same thing. I don't know, I also just put my hair back because I want it to be like, I don't want to deal with it. Like it's raining, like I said, like crazy, and with like getting in the gown, they typically have you put on a hairnet depending, and you have to change into the gown. I just like didn't want to have to think about my hair, so I figured braiding it would just be the easiest. Ken got me an extra large Dunkin', which it's only half caffeinated just to be safe. And how good does this look? It's like their tomato, bacon, avocado on sourdough. Oh my gosh. All right, we are en route. Ken keeps saying to go pick up your sibling from embryology daycare. And we're gonna make it just barely in the nick of time per usual, but like it's crazy, like we're actually on the way to go get a baby. Are you ready? You are? Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Shannon Anderson. I'm here in the waiting area. Yeah, take your time. Okay, thanks. This is the exact same room that I did my other 2 transfers. Look at these fun yellow socks. We love that. And I'm pretty much ready to go. Let's do this. Baby number 2, hopefully. All done, and everything went so good. I'm so excited. He was getting emotional. If you know, you know. You have to do this. So we got some goodies. Mainly Cole wanted fries, but of course I have to have some. It's the way it works. Ken just got so emotional randomly in the McDonald's drive-thru. He just started crying because he's very emotional as a dad when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I haven't even got emotional. Well, I was a little bit earlier today, but like not since we did this. And he just got so emotional. And he just went to get us ranch too. All right, here's the moment. We did it. You're cute that you cried.
Yeah.
Yeah. An emotional dad. Our doctor, that did the transfer for Cole, and he did my, obviously, like, stimulation and retrieval and all that, and more. He came out to the waiting room where Ken and Cole were waiting and got to meet Cole, which is kind of cool because he literally was part of, like, my stimulation, like retrieving the eggs and fertilizing the eggs that created him, and the embryo that created him, and then transferring the embryo that created him, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's cool that they got to meet because he like kind of wouldn't have existed without his help. So anyway, that was kind of fun. We kind of always wanted him to meet the doctor, right, babe?
Hey, give me a fries, please. Good luck.
Fries. Okay, Dad needs one too. Fries? This kid's literally obsessed, just like his mama. So here is our embryo, looking so pretty. And then this is the ultrasound photo of where they inserted it, obviously with the little arrow. So cool. I love that we get pictures like this, like IVF perks. Trials continue, and it's funny because he's warming it up as I'm icing. I really shouldn't be doing this because it's technically like It's Sunday night, which I shouldn't be testing with pee at the end of the night. I should be using morning pee, obviously. And the doctor said to test on Tuesday, but I was gonna test early tomorrow, being Monday. But I don't know, all of a sudden I just can't wait. So we're gonna just do just like one of these little cheap ones, just to see what it says. I'm not gonna take it too seriously if it's negative, since it is obviously, like I said, like urine from the end of the day, and it's early, and it's just one of these cheap ones. But I just want to do it, so we're just gonna do it. So here we go. Of course, Ken literally just walked in. Like, I thought this was safe because he's downstairs. He's supposed to be watching Cole. So I was like, oh, I can get upstairs for like 5 minutes by myself. And of course, the second I get up here, he and Cole come up in this room. Like, can I not get 2 seconds by myself? So I just had to literally throw everything into this drawer and like cover it with a towel. I don't think he suspected anything, but I kind of think he might suspect something because I had the bathroom door shut. I don't know if he heard me talking to the camera or not. So anyway, we're gonna try this again. That was 10 seconds, and then we gotta wait 5 minutes. All right, change my shirt so that it would look like I was up here doing something. It's been like 4.5 minutes, but I'm getting impatient, so my heart's like racing. But I'm not like taking it all that seriously because I feel like it'll probably be negative just because of my timing, but my heart is still going like a million miles a minute anyway. All right, here we go. All right, I don't see anything there. All right, so that's definitely negative. I don't even think it's a squinter. All right, that's what I was expecting. It's very early, so maybe we'll try again, like tomorrow. I literally have to whisper right now because Ken is still sleeping, like on the other side of that wall. It's 5 days, and I'm pretty sure 5 days is when I got my pregnancy test, or like my positive for Cole. So, and I see, like, I feel like 5 days is usually when most people do it. So I think I'm going to do it now that it's morning and I have, you know, morning pee and all of that. And I'm nervous because the pregnancy test last night was negative, but it was only 4 days and it was at night, so that didn't surprise me. And I feel like I've been having a lot of symptoms. Like, I think that I'm pregnant because I've been having, you know, a lot of like nausea here and there. I've been really tired. I've definitely had cramping and things like that, but I also feel like the medication does that to me, like all the hormones. So a big part of me feels like I could be pregnant, but also a big part of me feels like it could just be the meds and I could just be in my head about it. So I don't know what to expect, plus I'm just gonna use one of these instead of like a super legit one. I usually use that like to confirm what this one says. I feel like the fact that I'm doing it technically a day before my doctor said I should, and I'm using one of these, I feel like I kind of discount it a little bit. I'm nervous. I didn't sleep very well, obviously, because I knew I was gonna do this morning. My heart is literally racing. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. I turned on some more lights just in case I need to see the line a little better. I should probably put these on. Here we go. No, I'm pretty sure it's still negative. Gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised, but I'm not gonna let that upset me because, like I said, I'm not even supposed to test until tomorrow. So, I guess we'll try again tomorrow. We're gonna do this. I have to whisper because Ken is still sleeping. This is literally the 3rd time doing this. However, this is the day that my doctor said to test. So, I'm hoping that we get better results. My heart is literally racing. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up every hour. Last night I woke up at midnight, like 2, 3, 4, and now 5. And the problem is I just don't know what to expect. Like, I really thought I was pregnant, but then I got those 2 negative tests. And so now it has me kind of second guessing things, which is why I'm just gonna do one of these today. I don't want to mess with think it's negative. I really think it's negative. Wow. I don't think I'm pregnant. I mean, it says it all, I guess. Part of me, I feel like, sees like the faintest line, but I don't know if it's just like wishful thinking or the light or what. And last time I was pregnant, I think it was yesterday, that I got like a really obvious positive, well, not really obvious, but like pretty obvious. So the fact that this is negative, or if not like super faint, doesn't seem very promising. I'm doing one of these strip ones too, just as backup, just in case. I don't know, I'm a little bit surprised. Like, a part of me thought I was, but part of me didn't think I was. But I was saying like to myself, like, I think I will be surprised if it's negative. Like, I think I will be a bit surprised. But I haven't like cried or anything, because I don't know, I feel like when you go through this stuff, you get a little bit, I don't know, you kind of expect things like this to happen, so it's not like a punch to the gut like it is in the beginning. But I don't know, I think I'm gonna show this to Ken. I typically don't really like include him in the whole like testing portion, because I like to surprise him, and I don't know, I want him to be able to like hold on to his hope as long as he can before I dash it. But I don't know, I think I want to show him this just so I have someone to like talk to it about, because obviously over these last couple days that I've been testing, I have not told anyone, so I've just been kind of feeling all over the place and haven't really been able to, you know, talk to him about that, or anyone. So I think I'm going to show this to him and talk to him about it and see how he feels. And I don't know, maybe I'll keep testing like tomorrow. My blood test is on Friday and it's Tuesday, so typically if you can't get a positive on one of these by the time your blood test rolls around, then you're not gonna get one. But technically also my period would be due today, but with all the hormones that I'm on, typically that throws off your cycle anyway, so I don't think missing my period today necessarily indicates much of anything. So I mean, we'll see if I get it, but if I don't think that really means much. It just stresses me out, because that means we have to do another one and spend more time and more money and all of this to do another transfer. That's an embryo completely just gone. Like, that's one of our, you know, kids, potential kids, that just is gone now. And it makes you worried, because we wanted to have 4 kids and we had 3 embryos left, and now we only have 2 if this didn't work. So now our chances of having all the kids we wanted are kind of not possible unless we did a whole other simulation and another retrieval. And he just said take it on Tuesday. I took like the cheap ones yesterday and the day before, and they were negative too, but I thought maybe today with like the legit one it would be different. But
damn, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, well, it's alright, baby.
But it just makes me nervous. Now we only have 2 more left.
Yeah, it's just the holidays, dude.
Yeah, so now we can't even have the size of family that we wanted. Like
We'll
this morning, literally decided if we were gonna use all the bedrooms in this house or not. Yeah. And even if the next 2 magically work, which feels unlikely considering our track record so far, and the fact that they're like the least 2 good quality embryos, kind of makes it feel like there's even less chance of those working.
No, I don't think it works like that. But it just is what it is, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's another thing. You just keep going, just month after month, just stay on all these hormones and just keep doing this.
Yeah, just do what we have to do. It's alright, no big deal.
It's a little bit of a big deal.
A little bit, but we'll be at it.
Just one of our embryos is gone now, and this whole month, the time,
It's alright.
and every It's just another lost chance. Just another chance that we lose. I just don't understand how people are getting pregnant on accident, pregnant naturally, and we literally can barely get pregnant with all this help. Medicated like crazy, so we died like putting it into exactly where it needs to go. And 1 for 30. And then what's with everything that I've been feeling? It's all just based on the hormones. Now I'm not gonna trust myself no matter what I feel.
Right. Yeah.
Because clearly, even if I think something feels like it's something, it's not. But I mean, this is not. I've watched videos of people not getting a positive test for a long time. So I don't think it's like 100%, but I'm sure it's 99.8% likely that this is the situation. And that's annoying too, because these are like $5 each, these freaking stupid ass tests. But I'm sorry, DM.
No, don't be sorry, man. That's what it is. And...
Yeah, but you all had your hopes up.
Sorry, I'm always gonna have my hopes up.
You don't feel sad?
I'm sure I do. I'm just very tired, but...
I didn't cry or anything whenever I did it until I told you.
Let's just see what the actual result is on Friday.
Yeah, but if you can't get a positive pregnancy test before that, then I don't think whatever that would tell you would be a good sign either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If it could just be checked with a pregnancy test, then they wouldn't have you come in and do blood shit, so...
Well, he told me when I could take a pregnancy test. It's not like they tell you not to either, but...
Yeah. Alright, well...
Another failed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I had higher hope because it was our fresh transfer that failed.
Yeah.
Our frozen transfer worked, so I thought our frozen transfers were just like better.
I wonder... Well, I guess we'll see what they say. Or we just keep trucking.
Yeah, you just keep going. Yeah, but then what if we have to start over? What if none of these embryos work?
Yeah, a lot of what ifs.
What if we only ever have Cole?
Well, a lot of what ifs. We'll just figure it out.
How do you feel?
I don't know yet. I'm too tired.
I was gonna not tell you and see. Wait a couple more days and see if anything changed, but it's kind of hard to not talk to anybody about it.
Right.
That's the part about you being the only one that knows. You're the only one I can talk to about it.
Yeah.
I guess you can see when you turn on the light, if you can see. I feel like I sometimes see a line in certain lighting. So I don't know though. That's probably just wishful thinking or... Alright, well Ken is convinced. Well, I am too. I don't know if y'all heard us saying that in the last clip, but I was saying to Ken, like, you can find a line if you really want to on here.
Yeah.
Ken is
like
now...
Like even standing here, right here. Like, we're not going to be able to... I don't know if you're going to be able to see on camera.
I don't think so.
On camera, it might be really hard. I'm standing right here. There's a distinct line.
And by distinct, he means very indistinct.
No, I can see a full line all the way down. Opacity turned, you know, as low before 0 or whatever.
So now he's and he just double checked on Clearblue's website, and it says if you can see a line at all,
that is it.
At all, no matter how faint it is, it's a positive. Because I was telling him, I was like, what if you can just like, no matter what, you could find a line. If you looked hard enough, if you had the right lighting, if you like, you could always at least see where it would be.
Like
and so
right here, like it's here, you can just see it. Yeah. I've seen better versions of what I'm seeing right now. Upstairs, I saw better. Right.
So that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, I mean, technically you can find it, but to me, I was like, it's clearly negative because you have to search so hard.
Is that clear blue, babe? Is it clear?
Well, the line's pink, so that's why I don't even really know why it's called that. So now Ken's convinced that there's a chance that I am pregnant, even though I was convinced I wasn't. And even he didn't see a line until he got out of bed, went all the way to the bathroom, like studied it, and then double checked on their website too, and we're doing my shot right now, to see like, is there any chance you can find it? So I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope considering at this point in my last pregnancy it was a very clear positive, but I guess all despair, or I guess all hope is not dashed. I'm sorry I'm vlogging so much of this on my phone, but I feel like that just makes the most sense since I'm like up in the bathroom and it's like 5 in the morning and I'm not trying to, you know, like go run and grab my camera and like set it up and all that. And of course I'm like looking at myself instead of the camera when I use my phone. But we have the pregnancy test sitting out and we've each looked at it like 9 different times today. And I mean, you can definitely see a line in like most of the time that you look at it. Like there are times when I'm like, nope, there's nothing there. But every time Ken picks it up, he's like, there's 100% a line, 100% a line. And then I look at it and I'm like, yeah, there is. But like if it was any fainter, we would think that we were like making it up. I don't know. I feel like I keep thinking about it and it's just sitting on the counter. So I feel like we both just keep looking at it in like different lighting, like the natural light, the like lamp light, like taking my glasses on, taking my glasses off. And I just don't know what to think. And like this morning I was like, I was fine. Well, not fine. Obviously it's like heartbreaking to think that, you know, the cycle failed and, you know, you lost an embryo and all those kinds of things. It's just this stuff, like, it's just always hard and it's always sad. You know, any kind of infertility, you know, failure, infertility itself already sucks. And then when you are making moves and it doesn't work, it's super heartbreaking. But also, like, I feel like over the years, you just kind of get a little bit numb to it. And so I was like, fine. And then when I told Ken, as you guys probably heard in the audio, I was getting a little worked up, and then I kind of started crying like as I was making the bed. Just, I don't know, I get in my head about it and I just worry that our other embryos won't work and Cole will never have a sibling, or we'll have to do another stimulation, and just all those things, you know, you kind of spiral. So I don't know, now I feel like it's just on my mind a lot and I don't know what to think, and I'm not getting my hopes up, but at the same time it's kind of hard not to have a little bit more hope. Okay, here we are again. It's getting like 5 o'clock in the morning. But this is like the first time I'm taking a pregnancy test and it's not a secret. Usually I'm like doing all this stuff like super in secret, trying to like surprise Ken and all this stuff. And obviously yesterday with the whole like having no clue what the test said, now Ken obviously knows that I'm testing, and so it's like a little bit less of like this whole big like sneaky whole situation. I mean, he's still sleeping right now, but it's a little bit less of like this whole big sneaky operation, which takes a little bit of the pressure off. But I'm still really nervous because obviously I don't know what the result of the test yesterday like really was. But this is still a clear blue test, but this is a different one than yesterday. So this is what I used with Cole. I still don't really feel like the one yesterday was very positive, even though technically any line of any kind is positive. So I wasn't really like super like anxious last night because I feel like I am a little bit more at ease with the situation now that I kind of went through all those emotions yesterday. But you know, in early pregnancy, HCG is, you know, super like rapidly increasing. So if I am pregnant, it should be a lot more obvious on the test today. So all right, I did the full 3 minutes because if it's negative, you're supposed to wait up to 3 minutes to get like a true negative. So I just did the 3 minutes. Well, I didn't put a timer, but it's been 3 minutes. Yeah, no, that's definitely negative. That's definitely negative. For sure. Is there a little bit of a line? I swear I like am seeing things, which is why I literally need Ken to be in on this with me, because I swear I can like see things if I want to, you know? And I did one of these little strips too, just for fun. This technically needs a little bit longer to develop, but yeah, I'm pretty sure these are both negative. I think that's that. Told ya. I like thought I saw a line for 2 seconds and I was like, no, I think I can see things that I want to see. So of course now Ken is convinced that he can see a line on that test from this morning, the blue one, like a very faint line. I don't really see it. I can see it like in very specific like angles and lighting. So I don't know. I don't know if we're seeing what we want to see. I don't know if it's something there. I just know or I'm pretty sure that obviously if our tests are just like not getting drastically darker at this point, then it probably doesn't seem promising. But it's Wednesday. I have my blood test on Friday. So really, you know, it's just like one day in between now and the blood test. So obviously we'll find out for sure with that. But we're kind of going under the assumption that it's a no-go with this one, which obviously, I don't know, I have feelings about, we have feelings about, and I feel like I got a lot of my kind of emotions, which I didn't have like a ton of emotions, but I feel like the emotions that I did have, I got out yesterday. So I'm not like overly upset. I feel like, you know, if you had like, if we had been pregnant and then had like a miscarriage or something like that, where you know it worked and then something happens, it's a lot more emotional than just it like not working in the first place. But of course, like I said, in the last couple of days, it's just kind of concerning because I'm just worried about, you know, having to keep doing this month after month, and we only have 2 embryos left now. So it's like, what if those don't work or only one of those works? Then do we maybe just only have potentially 2 kids or potentially 1, or do we do another simulation, another retrieval and more transfers and just put my body through more of this, and again, just like more time and more money and just all of these things to consider. And Ken doesn't really like talking about like the long game of it yet, because we can only obviously focus on like 1 embryo at a time and 1 transfer at a time and all these things. But it's just like, I don't know, I guess for us, we've lost 1 embryo before this, and obviously 1 worked. So I just feel like we kind of expected more to work, not like, I don't know, at this point we've had more like losses or failed transfers than we have had successful ones. Help. There you go. Oh, you don't want that one? You want this one? There you go. And honestly, at the end of the day, like all we really want is a sibling for Cole, like at least 1 sibling for Cole. I just can't imagine us only having like 1 kid, or him just like being only child and never getting the opportunity to have a sibling to grow up with, to play with, to have as an adult, you know, all those things like that to us is the most important thing. I feel like it's kind of our duty to give him a sibling, at least 1. And I mean, for that's all for him. Like all I'm really thinking about is Cole. But of course for us, like I want to be pregnant, you know, at least 1 more time and have another newborn and just get to experience those things like more than once. But honestly, honestly, mostly I'm just thinking about Cole and how I just really want that for him. So we've pretty much decided we're going to do whatever it takes to get Cole a sibling. If that means, obviously, we're going to keep doing these transfers. I definitely want to talk to our doctor just to hear, you know, if he has any take on, you know, why this wouldn't have worked, or if he would expect out of the embryos we had for this percentage to not have worked. Should we have gotten them genetically tested? Like, are we kind of spinning our wheels because we didn't do that? And all of that different stuff. So yeah, I guess I will provide another update on Friday with the blood test. But overall, I'm feeling, obviously, it's like very heartbreaking. It's really sad, and it's a little bit like of a heavy feeling. But overall, I think we just accepted this is our journey. This is our story. This is kind of just like the cards we've been dealt. And I trust God and his plan. And I know that he has a plan, and I just need to accept that I don't understand it, and that's okay. I just remember this from after all our IUIs and our first failed transfer. It's like everything about it not working completely sucks. The only, like, if you have to find a bright side in a not bright situation, it's just that if I am indeed not pregnant, which I'm gonna wait till Friday to know for sure, at least I can kind of like go back to normal life, at least for a little bit, you know, until my cycle comes and then we start more medication for the next transfer and stuff like that. But if it's not gonna work, then at least, you know, I can try to get back to normal life and go back to working out. I haven't worked out at all. We've been taking like very short walks, like not doing our full 2 miles, my full workout. Obviously just kind of like taking it easy with how I'm moving and bending and, you know, messing around with him and stuff, just being like extra cautious, you know, not drinking, like all of those things. Not that I do a lot of that anyway, but just at least if it doesn't work, you get a little bit of a period of being able to go back to kind of normal-ish life until next time around. All right, we are off to my HCG blood work test. We obviously don't have any expectations, but off we go. You literally won't even be able to see me, but it's like 6:10 in the morning. I'll have to insert the video of waking Cole up this morning because we never have to wake him up, and he was so cute, but he was so sleepy. Hey, Coley. Gotta wake up, buddy. Good morning. Hi, honey. Hi. Good morning. Sorry to wake you up, bud. Did you sleep okay? Oh. Oh, honey. Okay. I think we could probably find the moon. Why don't you wake up for a second first? Good. Okay. Okay. Alright. You ready to get up? You ready to get up? I love you. Oh boy. There we go. Moment of truth. Alrighty, I'm sorry that all these last, I feel like the last quarter of this video is just all clips on my phone because I'm vlogging other videos on my vlog camera and I just don't want to get the clips mixed up. So honestly, it's a little bit easier to just use my phone. But this is honestly probably the last clip anyway, because finally my blood results got posted. It's way later than I thought it would be. I feel like typically it's a pretty quick turnaround, but it's a Friday, so I don't know if maybe things are a little slower, but we just got the result, and less than 5 means you're not pregnant, and then more than 25 means you are pregnant, and then in between, 6 to 24 is a gray area, and mine was 0.6. 0.6, so not even a 1. So basically, obviously, a very, very hard negative, which is what we knew and what we expected. So it's not like we were surprised by it or anything. We almost kind of thought maybe it would be in that gray area just because of the weird test results that we got, but it's definitely a big fat negative. That's kind of the last step. You just have to get the blood work done just to confirm. So basically the nurse is gonna have to call me, which I feel bad. Part of me wants to message my nurse and just be listen, I already knew I was negative. I've seen the results. You don't have to call me and feel bad or be I'm so sorry to I know. I know, I feel that's an awkward call for them to make, especially obviously when it's bad news, and I don't want it to be awkwardly sad. I'm okay. I got my emotions out a couple days ago, and this is just kind of what we're kind of used to, honestly, which is so unfortunate, but it just kind of is what it is. It's just part of the, process when it comes to these kind of things, which is it's just such a bummer that it's so uncertain and you're just gambling because obviously, kind of I've said, you spend the time and the money and, doing all these shots and taking all this medication just for it to potentially be kind of for literally nothing. And now we're another embryo, gone and kind of still where we were 2 months ago. So it's kind of you do a whole bunch sort of for nothing. So anyway, I don't know. It's just so weird to me too. And that's why I don't know if that test was kind of a faint positive and maybe there was a potential period where it did implant and then just didn't stick around for long, because I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. Honestly, I have so much footage and I'm sure this video is super long, but I think I want to just keep it as one video just to kind of encapsulate our third transfer. Also, my hair is so wild right now, so don't worry about that. But I have notes from the last time we had a transfer of just kind of what my symptoms were, and I was keeping notes this time too, and I feel a lot of my symptoms or just what I was feeling was very, very similar to how it felt with Cole, but at the same time, now I think I'm realizing now that I've done, because what I also realized with talking to Ken the other day is even though this is our second unsuccessful transfer, it's only our first unsuccessful frozen transfer, because our fresh did not work, our first frozen did, and then our second frozen did not. So I've had basically one failed fresh and then one failed frozen. So I guess what I was a little confused about, why I thought like there was a chance I was pregnant, was just because I was feeling so similarly to how I felt with Cole. And I knew when our very first transfer failed, like I knew I wasn't pregnant. Like I remember telling Ken, like, I know I'm not pregnant. Like I just don't feel pregnant. Granted, I had never been pregnant before at that point, so I didn't really know what to feel, but I was just very confident that I wasn't pregnant that time, and I wasn't. And then the time with Cole, I think I felt a little bit more confident, but still didn't know. And so this time when I was comparing kind of what I was feeling just in terms of the cramping and just some of the sort of like nausea and tiredness and just some of like the really like early stages, it's mostly like the cramping and how the cramping kind of like changed from being crampy to more of like a dull pressure. Like that whole experience was very similar with Cole, like almost on the same timeline in terms of it moving from like a crampy, like very, not like painful cramp, but definitely crampy, to kind of more of like a just like kind of overall pressure. All of the symptoms were just very similar. And so that's why part of me was like, maybe I am pregnant because I'm feeling the same things along the same timeline. So maybe that's how I feel when I'm pregnant, but I'm not. So a big part of me is now realizing that I think which is what they tell you, right? Like the medication in terms of all the synthetic hormones that I'm taking and stuff can give you pregnancy-like symptoms. And so I think that is what I'm realizing this time. Like now that we've had one successful frozen transfer and one failed transfer, the medications are different with a fresh than with frozen also, which is I think also why I've had such different experiences with the two failures, because I was on different medication the first time than I was this time around. So basically I've had 3 whole different experiences: a failed fresh, a successful frozen, and then a failed frozen. So now I feel like I've kind of run the gamut of all the different types of transfers with the different types of outcomes, except for obviously a successful fresh transfer, but you only have one chance at a fresh transfer. Obviously I cannot do another one of those unless we do another simulation. But I think now the main like takeaway that I'm taking away from this is that not that I can't trust how I feel, but I think I need to not put a whole lot of weight on what I think might be pregnancy symptoms or whatever, because I felt almost the same things on the same timeline with the pregnancy with Cole and this not pregnancy. So I think a lot of what I was feeling was just a result of, you know, the transfer. Obviously, you're going to get cramping from having a catheter up in your uterus and the medication and stuff like that. So we're just going to keep trucking along and do it again. Like we're literally going to just roll. I'm probably going to my period in the next couple of days, and then we'll just start the medication again and just do another transfer probably in 3 or 4 weeks, I guess, basically is what it would probably turn out to be. 4-ish weeks probably. So I'm just gonna not trust what I think may or may not be pregnancy symptoms next time and read into it too much, because I think that's what I've learned that you can't really do, is that things can feel very similar and be wildly different, or I'm sure things can also feel wildly different and be similar. Like I also could have felt totally different and still been pregnant. So I think each time is different, but I think the medication can kind of just mess with your body and mess with your head. And it's not like we really like got our hopes up or anything. It's not like we celebrated and then realized I wasn't pregnant or whatever. And so again, I'm not sure if maybe I did have some HCG, like more, that kind of did trigger the potentially faint line, and then maybe it, you know, kind of like miscarried, or it was a chemical pregnancy or something like that. There's no way to know. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up this IVF round, transfer round, and this video. And we're gonna just keep on going. We have to kind of now figure out, hopefully this next one will work. If not, hopefully the last one. Hopefully we can get 2 more kiddos out of, you know, those 2. And if it's kind of a whole nother conversation. If we can only get 1 out of those 2, then what do we do? If we get none out of those 2, what do we do? I'll be interested to talk to my doctor after this. I don't know, I'm sure we'll do some kind of catch-up consultation with him, and maybe just see what his take on it is. If he even has any thoughts, he's probably just gonna say that this happens and, you know, nothing's guaranteed, so let's just keep going. And then if the next one doesn't work, I don't know if it is kind of like a different conversation to have 2 failed transfers in a row and have only 1 out of 4 work. Like, I don't know how, I feel like that would be kind of uncommon to have only 1 out of 5 good embryos work. Like, I just don't know what to think or what to expect. All I know is that I gotta be hopeful for next time. So we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing and pray for better results next time. So thank you all so much for watching. I know this video is long and there is kind of a lot in it, but we really like documenting all of this and kind of sharing our journey, because I know so many other people have experiences like us, and it obviously really sucks, but I think it's important to talk about and make other people that maybe don't have, you know, friends or family or anyone that has been through it, or, you know, a big support system. I just think it's helpful to put this out there so other people can kind of maybe see what, you know, other people go through, and just like the true behind the scenes of what infertility is like. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I feel like that's not really appropriate to say for this video because it's not necessarily meant to be enjoyable, but thank you for watching. If you would like to subscribe, we would love to have you. And until next time, I will see y'all in our next video. Bye, guys.